Imagine a continent so rich in resources it could feed the world, yet it struggles to feed its own people. That's Africa. Now, you might think colonialism ended decades ago, but what if I told you it never really left? Now, today we are diving into how Africa, in so many ways, is still a colony, and trust me, they don't want you to know the truth. First, let's talk about new colonialism. Now, this is when a former colony or a former colonial power still controls a country, not through force, but through economics. For example, you have a country like France maintaining such a tight grip on more than 10 African countries by controlling their currency, the CFA franc, and these nations must deposit 50% of their foreign reserve into France's central bank. Let that sink in. Now, it's not just France. Look at the debt trap laid by global superpowers. China's Belt and Road Initiative is building an infrastructure in Africa: roads, ports, railways. But at what cost? Zambia is another example where the National Electricity Company was nearly taken over when the country couldn't repay its debts. Is that development or modern day colonialism in disguise? Let me bring it home a little bit. You see, growing up, I always noticed something odd. The best goods, be it clothes, tech, or even food, were all imported. My friends and I often joked, why is it that we grow cocoa but Europeans make the chocolates? It wasn't until later that I realized it's not a joke. It's a system. African countries export raw materials at the lowest prices only to buy back finished goods at exorbitant rates. Now let's talk about the aid narrative. I once served in a rural community in Nigeria that was helped by an international NGO. They built a borehole, took pictures, and left. Now, 2 years later, after I left, I called back and I discovered that borehole had broken down. Meanwhile, local engineers who could have provided a more sustainable solution were not even consulted. To me, this is not aid, it's more like PR. What's the real issue? Control. Whether it's multinational corporations exploiting the oil fields in Niger Delta or Western governments setting the terms of trade, the message is clear. Africa's wealth will benefit everyone else but Africans themselves. But here's the twist. They can't do that without our cooperation. Corrupt leaders, bad governance, and tribal divisions often make it easier for external powers to exploit the continent. While we call out the West, or while we call out China, we must also take responsibility and demand accountability from our own government. And change is possible. Change is possible. Rwanda's move to ban second-hand clothing from Western country is not just a good step, but it also leads to self-reliance. Another example is Ethiopia's focus on building local industries like its thriving textile markets. This shows that we can rewrite the narrative. What's the solution? How do we break free from these invincible chains? Let's start the conversation. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Have you seen examples of neocolonialism in your neighborhood or in your community? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But if we are going to tell the truth about Africa, we need to do it together.